Wow. Welcome to Malvern Books. Thank you for coming out tonight. It is a tremendously exciting day and night for us. This is this is our birthday. Malvern Books, and we're here because you guys keep coming back and buying books and coming to events and supporting us. Thank you so much. And so all the books, all the cards, all the cups, everything we have in the store is 25% off. So please take advantage of that and enjoy yourselves. And we have a real treat in store for us tonight because somebody has written a series of short stories that was exciting enough for me to bring my publication company, Host Publications, back from the dead to publish. We have this cute little book called Death to the Bullshit Artists of South Texas by Fernando Flores, who is one of our best employees here at Malvern Books. So, Fernando A. Flores was born in Reynosa, Tamaulipas, Mexico, and raised in the U.S. His debut novel, Tears of the TRUFFLEPIG, will be released spring 2019 by MCD FSG Originals. Fernando?
Thank y'all for coming out today and mustering the energy to come out on such a terrible day and celebrate the anniversary of Malvern Books, a place that means a lot to me on many levels. It's funny because today something strange happened. Originally, in April of 2014, this guy running a literary Ponzi scheme out of Chicago agreed to publish my novella-length collection of stories, which was Death to the Bullshit Artists of South Texas, Volume 1, which is a version of the 7 stories in this collection, the first 7 stories. And he made 200 little hardback, handmade copies, and the book launch was held over at Farewell Books on Cesar Chavez, and Travis, who is the co-owner of Farewell Books, put on his Instagram story this morning that he was giving away Wurlitzer, Oregon. And I was like, why not? I'm gonna say, why not? He was nice enough to not only give it to me for nothing, but to bring it over to my house and put it into my house, and it worked and everything. And in my brain, I was like, it's crazy it happened today. And in his bookstore, the Volume 1 was launched, and on the day of the complete version of the book, this strange magical moment happened, and I thought to myself, we can have these little moments where things come full circle in a strange, magical manner every now and then the world is okay. So thank you all for coming out here tonight and to celebrate this. Thank you to Host Publications and to Joe, who in December, I don't know, I must have said something about the book, and he's like, let me put it out, I'll put it out, and I'm like, do it, do it. I just wanted it out of my brain. I've been stressed out for so long that nobody wanted to put it out. So be careful with who puts out your first book, because if something shady happens, it's going to be very difficult to get somebody else to put it out. Thank you to Anar and Kate Kelly for doing such an amazing job. Stephanie. the names several times to make sure that there was nothing too embarrassing in there. So all these people worked very, very hard on the book, and if there's any flaw in the book, it is all my own. So, thank you very much for everybody once again. I'm going to read a passage from the book that is from the last story. Once I had a few stories, like more than 7 of them, I saw that it was like a punk rock, South Texas Dubliners, and I wanted the last story in the collection to be like, in a way, like a postmodern The Dead by James Joyce, in the sense that it's the longest story in the collection. It's about 15,000 words long. And I'm going to read a short excerpt from it. And once I reached this point in the collection, my goal, originally I envisioned like 20, 30 stories, this book with so many stories. And I thought that was too much after a while, and I'm like, in this last story, I'm going to put every story that I can imagine that anybody ever told from South Texas. So here it goes. This is an excerpt from the last story of the collection. The story is called The Exit and Arrival of B.B. Quasar. And this is the beginning of the 4th little chapter within the story. Maya Zablu came from an artistic Polish family. Her father was a violinist and composer, Ludwiko Zabludowski, and her mother, the playwright and dramatist, Monika Sierpło. They emigrated from Poland to Mexico City when Ludwiko got hired as a composer for the television studio Televisa, around the time Monika discovered she was pregnant with their 2nd daughter. Maya took piano, painting, and acting lessons as a child, and in her adolescence was enrolled as a foreign exchange student at Leroy Helms Academy in Houston, Texas. There, she made friends with a diverse, artsy crowd, had her first puff of marijuana at the age of 15, and at 16, her first alcoholic beverage. Early in the fall semester of her senior year, Maya attended a party in one of Houston's many wealthy neighborhoods where a few boys were taking shots of tequila, getting rowdy, and listening to bad, aggressive music. Maya was huddled with a group of her lady friends in the living room when 3 of the boys approached them. One of them, Jeb Proctor, the son of a business attorney, had something shiny in his hand that at first Maya thought to be a flask of alcohol. It was a handgun Jeb had retrieved from his father's closet. He passed it around the room for the other boys to handle, then to the girls. When it came to Maya, she refused to even touch it. The gun was handed back to Jeb, and he waved it around in the air to chuckles from the other boys and protestations from Maya's best friend, Janet. Jeb spun the gun around with his middle finger like he'd seen many cowboys and road cops do in movies, and that's when the gun went off. The bullet pierced Maya's forehead and exited through her right frontal lobe. A wave of fear slithered through the party like a prehistoric wind, and an ambulance was dialed amidst screams, panic, and loud sobs. Unconscious, Maya was rushed to Camarena VA Hospital and within minutes was in the ER. The doctors performed surgery to remove skull fragments and necrotic tissue from the brain. The bullet had passed through Maya's skull without crossing the midline of the brain. Part of her skull was removed to avoid further damage with the swelling, and she was placed in an induced coma to allow for rest. Jeb Proctor was arrested on attempted murder charges, and his father hired an attorney friend of his amidst the scandal. 3 months later, when Maya came out of the coma, charges were dropped to attempted manslaughter, which Jeb was found guilty of by a grand jury and sentenced to 3 years probation. Maya was able to form basic sentences in the moment she emerged from a coma, and in 5 weeks was able to put together more complex ones. She was flown back to Mexico City by her family, and after 8 months, when her scars started to finally heal, The only diagnosed long-term effect the doctors were able to find was a complete lack of inhibitions in her spoken words and actions. Maya got her high school diploma a year late, and by then her full recovery was an inspiration and a medical miracle. During her first vacation as an adult and without her parents, Maya Zablu was lying on a towel by the sea in Redondo Beach when a young man approached her carrying a styrofoam ice chest. He was a Texan she'd met the previous night, Isaac Mireyes, who was tripping on LSD. And he offered Maya a lemon-flavored candy tart with a measured dose. Maya didn't hesitate and took the candy, let it dissolve in her mouth, and asked Isaac what was in the ice chest. Isaac told her about an encounter with a fisherman who gave him a baby shark that he'd caught in his net as a gift. He lifted the lid and both of them stared at the baby shark, its skin like polished deep gray stone. Maya said this was inhumane, and they walked to the beach house she was renting. There, they filled the bathtub with cool water, mixed it with salt, and the walls around Maya started to rock as if they were inside a wooden ship. They carefully lifted the motionless shark out of the ice chest and tossed it into the tub. As soon as the shark touched the water, it bounced off like a big hunk of rubber off concrete. Maya and Isaac jumped back toward the hallway. The baby shark flew through the air, swinging its dorsal fin around like a boxer's fist, and with violence slapped the tiles off the wall in powder and shards, slapped the mirror, the window, glass shooting through the air like angry wasps. Maya and Isaac backed away, giggling and slightly horrified. It didn't quite seem real, but there it was. After shattering everything in the bathroom, the shark slapped its way toward the kitchen and destroyed cups, plates, and tore the phone from the wall. The baby shark knocked over the microwave, 24-inch television, shredded the wallpaper, and broke the hurricane-proof windows. The baby shark was at its wit's end, or giving it all while on the verge of dying. Maya and Isaac watched from the outside threshold as it tore the entire beach house like a motorcycle gang on a feeding frenzy. Maya's LSD had kicked in, and in the 8 minutes it took for the baby shark to destroy the beach house, nature, humanity, the ocean, and space made complete sense to her. She decided the earth needed her, split from Isaac and walked to the shore of the beach, where she felt the waves reach their fingers between her orange-painted toes. She saw out in the distance of the sea a procession of people in medieval garments, some being flayed by flaming twigs and whips as golden incense burned. Then Maya saw 2 piebald horses galloping toward her, carrying 2 riders. One of them was bare-chested. The other held a flag embroidered with letters from a language Maya didn't recognize, juxtaposed on a feathered beast. The horses stopped before Maya, and one of the riders said, "Hey, we're riding out to a rock and roll show. You want to come?" Maya held the bare-chested rider by his tight abs as a warmth within the horse emitted a silver aura around them. They galloped not through the beach and revelers, but the everyday people living in 16th century Nottingham, England. And from up high in the sky, Maya looked down on this equestrian scene. Maya Zablu was helped off the horse by both riders in a way that made her feel like a true Renaissance lady upon arriving at a music festival. Shimmering bodies in brightly colored swimsuits, holding sloshing bottles of water, and chubby babies, parted as Maya clenched the hand of her rider. They walked right up to the edge of the stage. Speakers and band equipment soared like skyscrapers against the forest beyond. Maya counted 5 men handling instruments, a couple of them tuning guitars. She paid close attention to one of them in shades and nice dark clothing. He seemed out of place, surrounded by all the half-naked people in the crowd, and Maya pictured him climbing down a beanstalk with a harp strapped to his back and a golden goose. She was still holding the bare-chested rider's hand. He had a mustache and couldn't stop smiling at Maya. The musicians finished tuning, and suddenly there was music. This was Maya's first ever rock and roll show. The man in the dark clothes got close to the microphone and began to sing. His voice sprouted like a tree out of the forest that darkened more and more until the sun was gone and Maya felt a purple sense of relief. She turned to her bare-chested rider. Holding her hand, he said to her, "Baby Quasar, this man's gonna be the first man of your life, Maya. You will spend the majority of the next 5 years with him. You will have his child, a baby girl. You will learn a lot about who you are, but you will never stay together with him or know another true love." Blue and red fireflies, the size of hummingbirds, were trying to mate above the rider's head as he said this. To get him to shut up, Maya pressed against his body and his lips. Then the two of them, very sloppily and physically, made out. Two weeks before the release of his third record, A Neptune's Distance, Baby Quasar traveled to Berlin to be with his then fiancée Maya and play a couple of shows. This was a year prior to the rise of what would be dubbed metal rock, and Baby was planting fan-base seeds which would make him an underground sensation in Berlin. Maya was 3 months pregnant with Baby's child and had been staying with her mother Monica, whose play was debuting at the Brecht English Theater in less than a month. There in Berlin, Baby was played on the radio every hour of the day, and he couldn't turn a corner without a random person recognizing him. To Baby, it was ominous to have strangers smiling at him or pointing him out in a crowded room. He learned slowly to ignore it all and go normally about his business. Baby frequented the English bookstore Boswell, always searching for underground science fiction paperbacks like T.S. Cordata or 19th century pastoral novels, which he'd grown a refined taste for since getting engaged to Maya and learning he'd soon be a father. Musically, he discovered the early compositions of John Cage, the French Chicano psych band out of San Antonio, Zoot Zoot Allure, and bootlegs of unsigned bands out of San Francisco and Lima, Peru. Thank you.